The M4 Block II FSP upper. This particular piece of kit is said to be elegant, deadly, sub-MOA accurate. And the reason for that, they say, is because of this barrel. Unlike any normal M4 barrel, it is a SOCOM profile barrel, meaning it is heavy underneath. Sub-MOA. Really? Let's find out. Now this right here is a full Colt upper with the SOCOM profile M4 Block II barrel. On the other hand, Josh has a Daniel Defense M4 Block II upper with a government profile barrel. Now, the only real difference between these two uppers effectively is the barrel. Is this truly a sub-MOA machine? Does this truly not shift its group when you fire it on a heavy firing schedule? I don't know. But we test it, and we'll find out. On the same day, with the same ammunition, with the same shooter, let's see if the SOCOM barrel on the Block II is truly magical. Before we shoot the M4s, we will calibrate the shooter, and for calibration we're going to use our Accuracy International Arctic Warfare. Now this measured up to be 0.31 MOA 8 out of the 9 shots, or 0.7 MOA for all 9 shots including the cold bore shot. And then we pressed forward to test the two uppers. So in this testing, we shot a 9-shot group for both of the uppers, dumped 2 magazines as fast as we could, went back and shot another 9-shot group of 77 grain IMI Razor Core match-grade military ammunition. To eliminate human error, we used a Primary Arms 6-30 times Japanese glass Hubble telescope optic clapped on top of this to eliminate any type of question we would have on my marksmanship skills.
See kids, this right here, this is why you don't put big optics on regular carbines. You don't need this type of magnification.
The first round we're going, this is the Colt SOPMOD Block II M4A1 with the heavy barrel. Okay. All right, round's complete. Josh, it is your turn, baby.
This is all I'm good for. Just this right here. So purpose here, just gonna straight mag dump 30 rounds, reload 30 rounds as fast as I can go. If we have any malfunctions, we'll clear them out. Look, I'm not quite as fast as automatic fire, but we're not too far away.
Henry. Round's complete. Thank you, sir. Whoa, look at that. That's good. Let's do this while it's warm.
All right, nice and controlled.
Nice and controlled indeed. Shifted low. All right, the correct, actual, not clone correct, but real M4A1 Block II SOPMOD upper We've completed the heat stress test. Now let's move over to the Daniel Defense light or standard barrel model of the Block II.
Oh, my ACOG.
I'm literally stripping all the things that Josh is putting on the rifle.
Why do you do this?
Because it wouldn't, the rail wouldn't fit otherwise. Hey, we improved it, Josh. It is now a designated marksman rifle. A sniper rifle, if you may. A recce rifle. Gotta do some recon with this.
You won't like it, but...
This is peak performance! Peak performance! Zeroed. Recon! Okay, the Daniel Defense DD Block II is sufficiently cooled from the zeroing, so we're gonna start with a magazine of 9 rounds of 77 grain Razor core. Rounds complete. Joshua.
60 rounds, was it 50, 60 rounds as fast as we can go? A little bit chilly here, but we'll try to make it happen. Smoking hot. Henry, your turn.
Thank you.
Nice and calm. Easy does it.
Complete. All right. You ready to go down for analyses?
Let's go take a look.
Let's go.
I can't be unbiased. I already know that, you know, you've leaked it out to me in previous iterations of this test.
Oh my gosh. Okay. The lore on the internet is that the heavy barrel is more accurate and able to keep the group tight even after sustained fire, a hot barrel per se. So, here we have it. Let's go check it out.
All right, we're here. Let me draw your attention first to this target. This is the calibration target. Henry started off with 9 rounds here with the Arctic Warfare. You've got the cold bore shot there, and then what is, I mean, an effective, pretty obviously sub-MOA group. So, shooter capability check, sub-MOA capable. But does that necessarily translate to our AR platforms, to the Block II platforms that we shot? Now, we did muddy the waters a bit. These rounds right here, this target, this was our 0 check target, so we're gonna scratch those off. I'm just gonna cover those up for right now. Now, when we look at both targets, top target, cold, bottom targets, after we shot our double mag dump through both platforms. And as you can see, both points of impact here shifted down, whether it were this rifle or this rifle, by about what looks to be about 1.5 inches of downward shift after it was heated up. And then on this particular rifle, you'll note what appears to be some slight leftwards horizontal shift and very little horizontal, if any, shift on this particular setup. But which rifle is which? Hit us up in the comments below right now with your predictions. Which is the Daniel Defense and which is the Colt? We'll reveal in 3, 2, 1. Perhaps a little bit of a shocking result here insofar as the expectation certainly being that the Colt would have outperformed, because that has the SOCOM heavy barrel in it, but in all actuality, we see pretty similar results under the specifics of our test, with perhaps the horizontal shift even being a slight detriment on the Colt platform. So, interesting.
This myth, this urban legend of the heavy barrel being extremely accurate, sub-MOA accuracy, in actuality, it performs, I would say, like a Mark 12, like not exactly.
Very in line with other high quality, high grade AR platforms that we've shot. You know, very few of these, in our experience, very few of them are shooting like sub-MOA 9-shot groups, with some very specific exceptions on full match grade, modern match grade builds.
So here we are.
Let's take it back to the lab and do some measurements.
Yeah. Well, hello there. You must have caught me freshening up the 9-hole Reviews Mark 12. Now, did you know the 9-hole Reviews is largely supported by Slate Black Industries and the patrons of Patreon? That's true. All those 77 OTMs, all those heartbreaks and range fees that we experience. Behind us, we have the patrons of Patreon, who support us not only financially and intellectually, but emotionally. So today I'd like to invite you to become one of us. Join us on Patreon and become a patron of Patreon. And if not, completely understand. We'd be just as happy to hear from you in the comments section down below. But for now, onwards we go. The Daniel Defense, however, with a lighter barrel, had a similar performance, but was about 0.1 to 0.3 MOA tighter in almost all groupings, except for the last group. So at this point, the Daniel Defense government profile wins. The Colt SOCOM barrel is totally stupid, and the rumors are a bunch of cloners who just get too excited about special operations. Is that right? Sort of, but the truth is a little bit more nuanced than that. But if you're only here for the highlights, then so be it. So you're still here. Shall we take a deep dive into this? You're probably a nerd like me, so let's talk about the M4 being a sub-MOA rifle all day and every day. So first off, these are high round count groups with military type match grade ammunition. There's a reason why the PSG-1's acceptance standards was 3.14 inches at 300 meters out of a 50 round group. Rifles like the PSG-1 or the Arctic Warfare that we have shot that are truly sub-MOA shooting all the time with an assorted amount of match ammunition, those rifles are expensive for a reason. It's fairly unrealistic to state that a much cheaper and lower tolerance M4 can achieve 100% sub-MOA standards. The acceptance accuracy for the M16 was 4.5 inches at 100 yards for the United States Army. That doesn't mean that the M4 Block II cannot achieve a sub-MOA small 5-shot group accuracy. There's a thread on ARFCOM by a gentleman named Malone, and he shot a lot of groupings with handloads with his Block II. Now, are all of his groupings sub-MOA? I don't know, but they were handloads. So can it be made into a sub-MOA rifle? Maybe. But in a military setting, that's not what we're looking at. It would be unfeasible to have SF operators to learn how to handload and handload every single round that they fire out of their rifle. Now, I'm sure that without taking into consideration that it is using military type match ammunition, logical or mental assumption that heavy barrel equals super accurate would easily lead people to say that it is a sub-MOA rifle without actually testing it. We're most interested in seeing how the M4 Block II performs in a military setting, with military ammunition, and to be honest, the observed accuracy was actually really good for those parameters. Again, these are 9-shot groups, and these group sizes are very comparable to the Mark 12 that we've shot years ago. So then some people will say that the heavy barrel is used for sustained fire. Now, the story goes a few ways. So number one, the heavy barrel is here so that the rifle maintains accuracy after substantial amount of full auto or fast semi-auto fire. With our example, we had a downward shift and a wider group size. If anything, the SOCOM profile barrel actually also horizontally strung the group out. So point number two here is that the heavy SOCOM barrel is here to accommodate fully automatic fire so the SF operator can lay down suppressive fire in lieu of a machine gun. Now consider that the M16's design with a gas tube was for the gas tube to melt or blow before there was a catastrophic explosion with the barrel.
Now this footage was sent over to me by Ian from Forgotten Weapons when he was working with Carl at InRange. When they interviewed Jim Sullivan, the co-creator of the AR-15, and his company Arm West were doing research on how to improve the M4. One of the key takeaways is that the gas tube would deform, droop, touch the barrel, and burst at that moment.
420 rounds, double the standard combat load of 210 rounds. Wow, that gas tube is glowing red.
So this is my question out there. If the Block II was made for SF operators to lay down a lot of automatic fire, wouldn't it make sense to upgrade both the barrel into a heavy barrel and the gas tube maybe with cooling fins?
Now Jim Sullivan's company Arm West did come up with a new gas tube design with radiator fins that did prolong the gas tube's life drastically during mag dumps before it would catastrophically fail.
Notice the gas tube is barely glowing? Now we have fired 4 combat loads, a total of 840 rounds without a single stoppage, all with the same bolt assembly.
On this, which it is the original gas tube, the same type of gas tube as a government profile M4, the gas tube would blow at the same time as the government profile gas tube, and you could not lay down any more heavy fire. Now the closest thing to a primary source that we have were conversations with Jeff Gerwich over at Modern Tactical Shooting. And Jeff was one of the first SF operators to receive the M4 Block II because, of course, he was a Special Forces trainer, so he trained other Special Forces operators during the rollout of the Block II program. And so he sat through a few of the capabilities briefings. And one of the things that Jeff had mentioned was that they were briefed that the heavy SOCOM barrels were more durable. Not more accurate, but more durable. Because of course Crane had published an 800 round continuous fire threshold for the government profile M4 barrel, meaning that at the 800 rounds-ish mark, the government profile barrels would start to warp, and so that the heavy barrels would prolong the barrel's life from getting to warpage. But again, I still ask the question, if you're looking at prolonging the life, then why would you use the original gas tube? I understand the logic of the gas tube melting and busting to save the operator, but if it's going to bust before even the M4 government profile barrel busts, then that should save the rifle from being warped. Now, we should take note that the Special Forces have a much better maintenance program than the regular Army, and it's also expected that every rifle and weapon system should be overhauled every 5 years, even if it's not deployed in a wartime scenario. That is purely to maintain its operational capacity. Now, in my mind, good maintenance, good ammunition, and excellent training for an already professional operator. Now that amplifies the capabilities of a great piece of kit. And I'm guessing that likely contributed to some of the praises to an exceptional rifle to begin with. But perhaps all of this isn't nearly as sexy as saying that the Block II has a magic barrel in it that can give you sub-MOA groupings And so you need it because you want to build a clone correct Block II upper.
716 is Geonet 6, 4 Vic, 8 packs, Redcon 1, green to green, how copy, over.
So I hope your main takeaway from this is not that I'm saying this is an inaccurate type of rifle. Quite the contrary. 0.1, 0.3 MOA is a minuscule amount of difference in accuracy between the two. If you were to ask me, both this and the Daniel Defense type upper is a highly capable platform. In fact, if you look at our practical accuracy episode, the M4 Block II absolutely destroys the course. And later on, you'll see in the Speedway episode that the M4 Block II really dominates the performance for this style of main service rifle. But at this point, I'd like to say a thanks to our viewer and Patreon supporter, Kevin, for sending this not just clone correct, but actually true Block II upper for us to evaluate. This is an absolute treat to hold a piece of historical relic. And for you guys out there, we'll see you on the range.
716 is Geonet 6, 4 Vic, 8 packs, Redcon 1, green to green, how copy, over.
296, this is 716, roger, over. 16, 091, 1 pack, green, green, over. This is 716, roger, over. 16, 2, 1 Victor, 2 packs, Redcon 1, over.